Hello and welcome to What the Hey, where I'm your regular host of What the Hey, and today in What the Hey, I am once again answering yet another question. When I go to my notebook of knowledge, I see the question of, who the hey was Jim Henson? Now this question was asked by Dre Higbee, so hello to you and thank you very much for the question. Now, like with most of my discussion videos where I bring up information about a real life person, I'm going to kind of do like a small biography about them, so kind of bringing up some basic facts, and then I'll kind of mention what they're mainly known for. Now, Jim Henson, whose real name is James Henson, was born on September 24th of 1936 in Manhattan, New York. So there's some very, very basic information on him. In terms of some family-related information, Jim Henson's parents were Paul and Betty Henson, and then Jim Henson married a woman by the name of Jane, and together with her, they had 5 kids, which is a lot. When discussing and bringing up Jim Henson's the early part of his life, he was heavily influenced by a lot of radio and television show ventriloquism, which eventually led into him helping out different children's program shows by creating puppets for them. Skipping a bit of time, in 1960, Jim Henson received a Bachelor of Science in Home Economics at the University of Maryland, which is a bit different from puppetry and ventriloquism, but now I'll go back to that. Before Jim Henson received his degree at the University of Maryland, he created a show during his freshman year called Sam and Friends, which ran from 1955 to 1961, and it essentially featured a bunch of different puppets. Through creating the different puppets that he used for Sam and Friends, he was eventually able to use his puppets in various advertisements. Before finishing Sam and Friends, in 1958, Jim Henson created Muppets Incorporated, which later got turned into the Jim Henson Company, but essentially what Muppets Incorporated did was help improve the field of puppetry. Through Jim Henson's contributions and creations, he was able to create things like The Muppet Show, The Jim Henson Hour, Fraggle Rock, and help things like Sesame Street. Unfortunately, on May 16th of 1990, at the age of 53, Jim Henson passed away because of toxic shock syndrome. Since his passing, Jim Henson's companies and franchises have been owned and operated by different family members as well as different companies, so they're still being used. What I find to be really cool, and this goes into my general opinion, a lot of Jim Henson's work has recently gotten reboots, which specifically the case of Fraggle Rock is a good example because that recently got a reboot, and I originally didn't even know that was a thing Jim Henson did. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of Jim Henson's puppetry work is really familiar and recognizable to a lot of people, especially those who really enjoy the Muppets. Which I definitely don't know as much as some people about the Muppets, but there are really good characters from it. Of course, you have Kermit, which is actually one of the earlier puppet designs and characters that was featured in Sam and Friends, which is cool. But characters like Kermit and Miss Piggy and Fozzie, all of them are so fun, and I'm glad that a lot of people still appreciate them being around and featured in different media. Which is really cool because if you look back at the history of improvements that Jim Henson specifically added to the field of puppetry, it's really awesome because he found ways to put rods and just movable parts in the puppets to make them seem like they have more expressions than older puppets would. But in general, super cool dude. I feel like a lot of people hold him in the same regard as Walt Disney because those are the Muppets and Disney and puppet stuff. All that is really big. I feel especially in film culture, at least American film culture. But that's my answer to the question. So if you have any questions, let me know and I'll get to answering them as soon as I can. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.